Okay guys, on this episode of Gig Masters, we're going to talk about cases and covers. When and how to use them and what to do with them on the gig. We all know about instrument cases. We know about gig bags like this one. Here's an example of a gig bag. It's a soft, padded bag for your guitar. I don't use these. If you're using one, that's good for you. I mean, they have their use. I mean, they're better than nothing. They'll protect your instrument from scratches and dents, but I could never take one of these serious on the heavy schedule that I do. Multiple gigs in one day. A lot of times I end up throwing my case, dropping it, banging it into stuff. I could never use this. I mean, if you're going to a campfire gig or something one time a month or something, and it's a hobby or something, then, you know, if you're a hobbyist, this is great. But there are much better alternatives than a gig bag, a soft gig bag. You've got your standard black guitar case, hard shell case. It comes standard with most better instruments. You've got, you know, specialty cases like painted rectangular shaped hard shell cases. You got fancy cases like this alligator, or it's a faux alligator case for guitars. I mean, this one even comes, I don't know if you can see it, but this one even comes with a humidity and temperature indicator built in. This one actually has a tuner built into it. It's a pretty decent case. They make flight cases, the heavier plastic and metal cases. They've got waterproof cases that look like you know, gun cases. A multitude of instrument cases for horns, guitars, keyboards. I recommend a hard shell case. There's these things called flight cases. They're the heavy duty ones. However, they can be heavy, they can be bulky, and they can be expensive. So if you're not flying around the country, I guess those are okay. Or if you have a roadie that's going to do all of that work for you, those are cool. But if you're a local musician like myself, and you're going gig to gig to gig, sometimes multiple gigs in one day, then the flight cases tend to be a little bit awkward. So I tend to use hard shell cases on my guitars, but on my other equipment, I like soft padded cases. And I'll show you what I mean. For example, I use for my vocal and other instruments that may be in the band, like a piano, or if we've got a mic, the drums or saxophone, I use these modular speaker systems, these array systems, these PA arrays. Bose makes a great one. I've been using Bose pretty much exclusively since they started making these little units. And they come with these padded cases. I'll show you what I mean. You just you take out the components of the speaker, and you've got this soft shell case, right? Okay. Same thing with same thing with this bottom part of the unit. It has a soft case on it, you know. And then you get on, you put the thing on the performance area, you set it up, you wire up, you get going, and you got this soft shell case, this little cover. I call it a dust cover. It's got a little pocket on it for the cord or some cords and some accessories. And but what I also use is a case, or I should say a cover for my amplifiers. I have a multitude of different guitar amplifiers for different applications, different rooms, and one of the go-to amplifiers that I use is this little lightweight yet very efficient and powerful Fender Blues Junior, and it's an old one. It's an older one, and the reason why it looks so good is because I use this. I've been using these covers. I don't use a flight case with it, although I've played with plenty of guys who will put one of these inside a rolling flight case, and they'll just leave it in there. They'll actually just put the rolling flight case on stage with them, and that's cool. But I find that that adds a lot of weight. They can be expensive, and of course they take up a lot of room in the gig rig. And speaking of gig rig, we'll go into this in the next segment. So now you've set up all of your equipment. You've got your PA, you've got your thing, you got your guitar case, and now what do you do? What do you do with all these covers and cases? Well, I tell you what you don't do is you don't put your guitar case and your covers. You don't put them in a booth, or you don't put them on stage. A lot of venues, they don't want to see these cases. They clutter up the place. They take up room, and they just, it looks amateur, especially the higher end gigs like the ones that I'm doing. So I have a 3 C's rule. Cases and covers go back in the car. It's that simple. Now, they may offer to let you put your cases and covers and your dolly and all of your non-essential gear in a closet or a side room or a equipment room or some other little side off-stage room, if you will. If you trust the venue, then go ahead and do it. But you'll find that some of the not so good spots, while you're playing, a microphone or two or a wire or a backup guitar or something might go missing. So cases and covers go back in the car. CCC. Now let's go over all of the cases. You got cases and covers for amplifiers. You've got cases and covers for the speaker systems. You got cases for your guitar. You got cases for your drums. Drum cases. Little soft cases for your drums. Use your cases. Protect your equipment. In the long haul, you'll be very grateful for this tip. I played with a drummer years ago who never used cases. Well, his drums looked like shit, and it was embarrassing to bring him on a gig at a high-end country club because his drums didn't look good. Now, the guy was a good-looking guy, and he always wore nice clothes, but his equipment looked terrible. So I had to tell him, buy some drum cases. Buy a new set of drums. When you do, use some drum covers. Use some drum cases. When you going gig to gig, you have a tendency to be in a hurry sometimes, and you just throw your equipment into the back of the gig rig. Like, you can see my gig rig. This is mine. I use a little work truck. It's a Nissan Cube, and it's perfect for the application, and I call it the gig rig. And there's a picture of it right there. And it works great. It's been very reliable. It was cheap, and I keep it nice and clean, and it's essentially invisible, and it doesn't attract a lot of attention because while I'm playing, I don't want people to break into my car if I'm not in the best neighborhood and take any of my equipment that might be left in the car. So I like the Nissan Cube. I can afford more, but I'm going to beat it up because of it's a purpose built vehicle for me. I use it specifically to beat up with putting equipment in it. And trust me, over time, you're going to scratch the interior, you're going to bang things up, you're going to rip the upholstery, and that's just because of the nature of the beast. So one other tip that I'd like to leave you with is, okay, so you're on the gig and you've unloaded all your equipment and you've got all these cases and covers laying around. What do? Well, One of the things that I like to do is I'll take my guitar case and I'll simultaneously show you live footage in the window next door here. But what I'll do is I'll take my guitar case and then take all of the instrument cases and covers, like the speaker cover, the soundbar array cover, the guitar amplifier cover, and put them right inside the guitar case. Close the case, and now you've got this easy way to just carry everything out with one hand to the gig rig. So, it's a short video, but if you're going to buy quality equipment and quality instruments, which I recommend, protect them with good cases and covers. I will leave a link in the description below about where to find certain amplifier covers and so on. And I hope that this episode and the tips within have been helpful to you. If you are new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. This is Gig Masters, how to get and keep more gigs. If you find these tips helpful and you go back and backtrack through all of the different episodes, I'm sure you will get some useful information that will help you in the long run, because what we're doing is exploring the fundamentals of little techniques other than the music, because there's a million guys out there that'll show you how to play guitar, but there's not very many guys out there who are actually everyday, full-time, working musicians who will share tips with you on how to survive out there. Go back, revisit all the episodes, and if you find them helpful, leave a comment and hit that subscribe button. Tick that little bell for notifications for future episodes when I do uploads. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by. My name is Mooney Man, and you've been watching Gig Masters. Now, let's go get those gigs.